Hello guys, today I'm going to do a video on the collections of data in the collections. There are four collections types in Python and they are list tuple asset dictionary. So I will bring out the methods that we can use in these data, these collections in a nutshell. I will just be quick so you can get a rough idea about everything. So let's first move to list. So what we use in a list is a square bracket. We use a square bracket, and also the other important thing is as we use a square bracket, we have to remember that list can be changed. That means they are mutable. That means we can add elements, extend them, remove elements. We can do anything we want. And also any type of data like integers, characters, strings, and also boolean values, all of them can be stored in this list. Right, so let's go with an example. Okay, let me create a set called x, and I would use square brackets and I would insert it values. Let me first give them a set of integers, and also you can just put in the same list you can bring up a different type of data. Like now I just gave a set of integers. Now I can put strings, a char into it, a characteristic into it, and then I would put a string into it. Let me say cat and dog. Like that I can put strings, and also I can put floating numbers, that means decimal values, and also I can add boolean values like true or false. Anything you can add, I would add true here. So I created my two lists, x and y. So what are the ways that we can access the elements of a list? So the second method, I would go accessing the elements of a list. For this we use the method of indexing, and that means we just give a number to each of the positions in a list. For example, number here in this list x, 8 would be the 0th index position, 9 would be the first index position, 2 would be the second index position, while 8 here would be the fourth index position. No, third index position. So the first value is 0 to 1, 2, 3. So like if you want to access the index of let me say, if you want to get this index at the 0 positions, I would have of x, I would just write x and then I would write the index I want in a square bracket, and I would print this, that as get the output and see. Yeah, you can see that I have received 8. So you can see that 8 is at the first index, 8 is the 0's index first position. So the first element, it means the 0 index. So and the other thing I want you to realize in the list is that the values can be duplicated. So you can see that there are 2 8s here. The values can be duplicated. It doesn't matter in a list. So and also if you want to just let us go with another x, and I would just access another element 4. So you can clearly see that there is no 4 in this x list because there is only 0 1 2 3 3 indexes. No, 0 to 4 3 there are 4 indexes, but the 0 1 2 3 are the only indexes you find here. So you can get 4 here. So but if I want to show you that it can be accessed, so I will just run it, and you can see that list index out of range. We get this error message. And also if you want to find the length of this list, you can use the length function, print length, and I will put my list inside open round brackets, and I would run it, So you can see that, yeah, I haven't just deleted this, so I would get the same error again. Okay, yeah, you can see that I get the length is 4. So as you can see that in my list X there are 4 elements, so I get the length of it as 4. So there's another method of slicing list elements. So for this you have to put the name of the list first and use square bracket and write the number of elements you want to slice out, like you want to get out of the list. So I would use Y list here because you have a lot of elements there, and let me say this is 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So from 0 to 9 you can find 9 index 10 indexes. So I will slice it out that I get 3 to 7. So if I print this, you can see that I got 5 edge cat dog. So what I want you to realize here is that the 5 edge cat dog, these means actually 0 1 2 3 4 5 6. So when you mean from 3 to 7, it actually means indexes 3 4 5 6 only. You don't include 7 in it. Did you understand that? So if I just go with another example, you can see Y, and I will put square brackets and type. Let me write. Now we have 9, so I will write 6 to 9. And if I print it out, you can see that I got 6 7 8. These must be this dog 8. These are the elements I got out. So that means 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 6 7 8. When I type the range 6 to 9, I get 6 7 8 index question. So the other two methods of slicing out is that you can use something like Y, and then I would put a square bracket and put colon to the front and write the amount of integers. If I type 5, what will happen here is that the last 5 will remain. Okay, the last 5 will remain while these others will be omitted out. So if I print it out, you can see that, yeah, no, I did a mistake. So when you put colon in the front, what happens is the last 5 will be omitted out. Yeah, let's see it again. 1 2 3 4 5. Yeah, up to 5 I got. So let me write this to be last. Let me write it as 3 colon 3 and print it out. So you can see that, yeah, last 3 was omitted out. No. First 3 remains and the rest of it is deleted. So when you write colon first and the number of elements that you want to emit, what happened here is first 3 remains and others are cut out. Or we can simply say that first 3 is taken out of the list. So because we are slicing here, so first 3 is taken out of the list and returned to us, right? Turn to us. So if you write it like print Y, and I will write square brackets, and if I write 4 first and put the colon next, let's see what happens. So what happens here is that the last 4 elements will be just rejected, and the rest of the things will be taken out. So when you write 4 colon, what happens is what they give us is that 4 last 4 elements will be omitted, and the rest of the list will be given to us. So what I want you to remember here is that when we put colon at first 3 will be given to us, and when you put 4 and colon in the end, the last 4 will be taken out. Okay, so the other methods I want to tell you about list is that how we add elements to a list. Well, there are two methods you can use here. That's insert and append. So method number 1 would be inserting. So here we have to use the index function. So we have to use index, we have to get use of the index function. So I will take the first list, that's x. So I would reach, let me say I want to put a value to the value 10 to the index position of 3 here, 0 1 2 3. That means after 8 I want to put a 10. Okay, I would write 3, the index position I write it first, and I would put a comma and write the value I want to insert. Let me say I would want to insert 12. Okay, so if I run this out, you can see that what is the mistake I have done here is that I have used square brackets when I'm doing this inserting. So I have to also put insert here. Sorry for my mistake. I want to write x dot insert, and I want you to use round brackets, and I should do the index position, give the first index position first, and then give out the value that should be inserted. So let me run this out now, and yeah, it's given a none. Why is that? Because you can clearly see that 1 2 0 1 2 3. Yeah, I would have to just store this out in another variable. Let me call it a, and I would tell print a. Okay, print. No, actually it's just easy if I just do this without anything. If I just write x dot insert 3 2, and then if I just simply print x, it will work. Okay, x, and then we save it and run. Yeah, you can see that 0 1 2 3 to the third index position my element is added, 0 1 2 3 before 8. So when I write the third index position, I get 12 added before 8. So let me just comment it out so you get a clear idea. That means third index position index, that means I get my value added before 8. Before 8, because why 8 is important is 8 was the previous value at the third index position. So I would just do another example for this. X dot insert, let me say I want to insert at the 0 index position, at the 0 index position a value, that means at the beginning of the list I would get a 20. Let me run it and see. Okay, I forgot to print it out. Let me print it out. Print x. Okay, so yeah, you can see at the beginning of my index I get a 20 added. So if you want to add 20 to the first index position, you have to write first 1 here, and if I just print it out, you can see that I get 820 added in the first index position. So always the value we give here will be the value that will be taken by the number we give here. So that's about index inserting. And the other method number 2 of adding elements to a list is append method. So what you do here is we write x dot append, and if I just give 90, where the element would be added to the leftmost. Yeah, you can see. No, I have forgotten to print it out, so I have to write print x also. Yeah, you can see that value is added to the leftmost. So what's important here is you have to add the value to the leftmost index. So what append does is it adds the value to the left, to the not left, to the right. That means to the end. Yeah, the end. It's sorry, it's right. Actually, it adds to the right. It adds the values to the end of the list. Okay. So and also imagine you keep just inserting values to the 0 position on and on. What would happen then? X dot insert, let me say 0 position, I would add no, I would add 9, I would add 89, and then if I just keep adding it on and on, let's see what happens. Values would get pushed forward. If I keep adding 78 and 34 and 67, and if I write print X, yeah, you can see that what I inserted first was 89, and these values are pushed forward. 67, what you inserted at last will be at the beginning. So when we keep adding it to the 0th index position on and on, it will keep getting added and it will be pushed forward to the list. So, and the other thing we have to remember is how we get an element out of our list. How do we remove an element? Well, the next method is removing an element. So we use the remove method for that, x dot remove, and I will give the value that I want to remove. It must be a value that's in the list. So as you can see that we know that Python is something that gets printed line by line. So when you reach here, everything up to here has been done to the list of x. So 67 and 34 is something that is exactly in the list. So I would remove 67 here and get out the list. Now I just forget to print it again. I print it again. Print x. Yeah, we run it, and you can see that in this line 67 is there, but in the next line next list 67 is not there. It's removed out. So the other thing is there's another method of removing a value out of a list, and that's called pop. So what happens in pop is if you just give it out without any if you just put a bracket, a parenthesis here, and do not assign any value into it, you would find out that the last element of the list will be taken out. So it's like pop, like a volcanic eruption, the last element will be taken out. So, but if you give a value to this inside this bracket, if you give a value, like if you give it let's say 67 again and print it out, no, let's say 34 and print it out, yeah, you would okay, that's the thing. When you use the remove method, you can use the element itself. You can give the value of the element. But when you use the pop method, you have to give the index of the element. So what's the index of 34 is absolutely, let's just see our list now. So yeah, okay. Now let's just if you want to remove out the let's say in the list X, you want to remove out the 5th index position, and let's say whether it has been removed out. So you can clearly say this was the list that was before after removing 67 you get this list. So after removing the 5th index position you get the last list. So let's count out and see whether our 5th element is here. So focus on the list before the last one. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 9 is the element at the 5th index position, and you can see that in the last list we get, after adding the pop method to the 5th index position, that the element 9 is removed out. So that's what we do here. We have to add the when we use the pop method, we use the index position. But when we use the remove method, we have to call for the value of the element. Okay, so the other thing is we can use delete method, delete x, and I would write print x again. So what happens here is that it will generate an error because x list is already deleted, so it cannot be found. Yeah, name error, name x is not defined, so x cannot be found now because x is already deleted, so it generates an error called name x is not defined. So I would have to remove this because unless we get an error. So we have to use another method called x.clear and put parentheses, and if I write print x, you can see that you will return an empty list without obtaining an error. So yeah, you reserved an empty list because using the clear method, all the elements of x has been cleared out. So there's another thing we have to learn about list, and that's about sorting out. So if I would write x dot sort out and put parentheses and run it and print it out, you may see that it will just get sorted out in an ascending order. Okay, what I receive is an empty list here. That's because I have used the clear method here, and I will cut that out. So yeah, so you can see that my list of x has been now in a methodical is listed in an ascending order 288, 12, 20, 34, likewise. So the other thing you have to focus, another thing and interesting method you can see here is that x dot sort. I would put if I want to order my list in the descending order, what I would do is x dot reverse, and reverse I would put question mark and write true, and then I would print x. So if I save this and run, you can see that my list is arranged in the descending order 90, 89, 70, and likewise. So that's all about list, but there's another interesting method I can teach you if you're interested in Navi. So let me create another file, and so here we can do this interesting thing, like we have to write A, B, C, D, and we can just assign 2, 3, 4, 7. So if we print out A and print out B, okay, let me just go. Okay, so you can see that if I just keep B and C, okay, so if I run this, okay, I have to save this list, and then if I run this, what it will give, yeah, okay, I've got an invalid syntax here because I've written to add a comma, and I would run this. You can see that 1, 2, 4, 3, 7, I get the values, the respective values according to ABCD. So that means A is 2, B is 3, C is 4, and D is 7. Okay, ACBD I have written here, so I would just get the relevant value to the letters given here. So what happens if I remove a value here like 237 and I just print this out? It will generate an error because not enough values to unpack. Okay, expected 4, we are given ABCD, we have expected 4 values, but there are only 3. So this is actually called unpacking. This method is called unpacking. And so what we do here is we have to okay, just we do the other method. Oh, where was it? If we do it like 8, we put 8 here, and if we remove C, so yeah, so if I just remove C from here, you can see that it will generate an error again because that too many values to unpack. Expected 3, but 4 has been given. So what we do here is we put asterisk mark here. So this means, I mean, you can put the asterisk mark to any of it, A, B, or D. This means I have to just remove C out of here. What you have to do is, this means that A will be 2, D will be 8, but all the other remaining values will belong to B. That means 3 and 7 will belong to B. So let's run it and see. Okay, here's the invalid syntax again. Okay, the mistake I have done is actually these asterisk marks should be put in front of B. Sorry for that. And okay, so if I just run it, you can see that B is 3782. A will be 2 and 8, D will be 8. So actually you can just put these into A also if you want, and remove the value for B and just run it, and you can see that 2 3 is belonged by A and D will be belonged by 7 8. So the 7 8 will be go for B and D. So that's all about list. You have to think. Yeah, so my video is over now. Hope you enjoyed it. Comment below. Thank you for watching.